This is the Night Owls Disc Golf Podcast. I'm Shane.
And I'm JP.
Welcome back, JP.
It's Taco Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday? Yeah, it is Tuesday. That's right. Oh, I didn't have tacos.
I didn't either, but I just thought I'd bring that up.
What did you have for dinner?
I skipped dinner because I had a big lunch today.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you. I wish I had that sort of mind. I'm like, it's about 6. I better eat.
Well, I was feeling that way too, and then I just drank water. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm feeling full.
Oh, okay.
So I'm good.
All right. I had a bison burger with crispy fried onions, and not like crispy, like battered, like just like caramelized.
Okay. That sounds good.
And then roasted Brussels sprouts.
I haven't had a bison burger in a long time.
It was really good. So I did it no bun,
no
carbs.
Yeah.
And it was really good. I was like,
where did you get the bison meat from?
Marketplace, Todix.
Oh, okay.
Right, Todix. Was that what it's called now still?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah, Econo.
I'll have to go there.
Yeah, bison.
Sweet.
They also have it at Walmart, and they also have Pick and Save.
They have it at Walmart?
They have it at Walmart as well. Yeah.
What the heck? It's not like frozen patties. It's like
No. They're
actual
1 pound packs.
Yeah.
1 pound squares. And yeah.
Mind
So,
blown.
If
Good
you go to
know.
Marchand's, he'll mix it however you want it to be mixed, and you just pick it up. You just call it in and pick it up.
Okay.
So you need about a day.
Yeah.
But I picked up 10 pounds the other day. Well, not the other day. It was like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But I just said I wanted a 90-10
Yeah.
with in bison, and he said, like, pork fat? And I was like, yeah, please. And he goes, so we just did some pork fat, 90-10, so bacon.
Yeah.
90-10. It was awesome.
Wow.
It was really good.
Okay.
But he must have used some sort of maple bacon or something. Like the scraps must have been
Oh,
of
sure.
a certain cured.
Yeah.
Because there was a sweetness to it, which was good, but it wasn't what I was looking for, So I had 10
Yeah, if you're not
pounds of-
expecting it, all of a sudden you're like, oh no.
Yeah, it was, and that's kind of how it was. And the burgers, when you fried them, they caramelize a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So, welcome to the Door Disc
Cooking
Cooking
show.
Podcast. But it was really good. So, yeah, that's what I had. So, what'd you do over the last week?
Man, what did I do over the last week? I almost played disc golf. It's been getting nice enough now.
Man, it's soggy, but it's nice.
It's soggy, but it's nice. It did dip down. It was like 30-some degrees for the past couple days, so snow's been melting. And then it dipped to like 20, and I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, but it was nice today.
But it was nice, and now it's rainy. So I did want to get out and test discs because I haven't thrown them in a while, like the range and the buzzsaws I haven't thrown.
Yeah.
Trail I got.
I didn't buy any of those, and we don't have any more.
Out of buzzsaws.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't believe
That's
it.
a good problem.
It was a good problem. Yeah, we ordered a ton of them, and we don't have any more. But we were also at the lowest end that we could sell them at.
Okay.
So it makes sense. I mean, why they were going, because we were about $1.50 to $2 less than everybody else in the United States.
Yeah.
Basically. So
Interesting. What else
yeah.
have I been up to?
Yeah.
Volleyball. Like we just finished up one of our leagues. We won the championship, which was
Cool. Good
nice.
for you.
And then we played last night and won our semifinal game. So we're going to the championship game and then another. And it's funny because the championship game is is against a bunch of people we know. So it'll be
okay.
interesting to
Okay.
play against them.
very neat. Very neat. Is there anybody that I know on these? I'm sure there is, but.
It's teachers from Gibraltar.
Oh, okay.
Like-
both sides?
No, like Devin Thomas is like on the other team that we're facing.
Okay, yeah.
Ben and Christina Hubing, like she does like works in the high school and he works at Target, but like they've been playing for a number of years. And then on our team, well, my wife, like she works at Gibraltar, so like there's just like that camaraderie between
Sure.
like people working in the building together and stuff, and some other people that play in the summer that we pick up to form a team in the winter. So
Yeah.
it's fun.
Well, that's awesome. That's cool. So, I was in Cancun.
Yeah.
Didn't even have a cell phone connection.
Oh wow.
It was so awesome.
It was so awesome.
It was so awesome. So, obviously internet and, that's all available. And it was like boo-hoo every time I'd come back to the room.
Yeah.
But it was really nice. Basically just sunshine and rainbows like the whole time. It was amazing. Actually, I don't know if I saw a rainbow, but it was sunshine for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Lucky.
and didn't quite roast myself, but close
I mean,
enough.
you got
I
some
got
good
dark.
color.
I got dark. And like on my whole body too. It was cool. Like, but had some good times. We stayed in an all-inclusive. which was really cool. Never stayed in an all-inclusive before. I did, like I've done cruises and stuff before that are all-inclusive, but
Yeah.
this is different. And there was so much stuff to do on the place that we were at. We didn't even get it all in the 7 days. And we never went off site. I wanted to, but it was just, there were so many things to do that we just didn't book tours.
Okay.
So we just stayed on site the whole time, and it was phenomenal. And the kids never got bored. And I'll show you a picture. But as soon as you walk outside of our back patio, a pool. Like, and it was just for like
A couple.
the 8 or 10 rooms
Yeah.
that were there. It was like a private pool that went
Dang.
between all the rooms.
Nice.
It was so cool. And the people that we went with are at the end of the pool, and we were kind of about 3/4 of the way down. So our kids were just swimming back and forth
Yeah.
at the pool. And yeah, so it was really fun. Never done that, but definitely going to do it again. It was really good. But man, sales pitches. Whew, so many. Those
Oh, I'm
all-inclusive
sure.
resorts, like they called us a lot. Like I felt like it was spam calling.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy how much they called the room. And then finally I was just like, no. Like we're not here for that. Like we're here to enjoy the family. Like I don't want to take time to listen to a sales pitch. Thank you though.
Yeah.
But you know, and they would be like, no,
Click.
and then they would keep calling.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. So finally, I just
That's
took
why
the
they tried to
phone
hook
off
you.
the hook
Yeah.
and just let it go. So every time a housekeeper would come, because they came in twice a day. Every time a housekeeper would come in, they put the phone back on the hook, and then you have to like come in. It was crazy.
Oh, man.
But other than that, it was awesome. I mean, I really enjoyed it. No disc golf. Didn't even throw a frisbee, which I probably should have.
Wow.
Like on the beach there, that would have
Yeah,
been perfect.
right?
I don't know why I didn't
At least
think
just
of
a
it.
lid.
Yeah, but I was just too busy like playing with the kids or laying on a lounge chair.
Okay.
Acceptable, right?
Yeah.
Or eating. A lot of eating. It was all free.
More food talk.
I know, it was crazy. So anyways, we'll get to it. So we got some big changes finally announced. And we get to see what they're coming up to. DGPT, we got some happenings there. And then Supreme Flight Open happened.
It did.
And I think outside of that, we'll just get started. So door_disc_golf, night_owl_pod. Those are the Instagram handles. And then Door Disc Golf on YouTube. And then doordisc.com, where you get all your disc golf needs. We do have everything on the site. And we're actually working through some old stock and putting stuff on some really, really good sales right now.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff we've been sitting on for years, old Tour Series stuff, things like that. So jump on the site, doordisc.com, and you'll see it. We did a refresh. Actually, Matt Yadis went ahead and kind of hammered through a new refresh of the website. So it's a lot easier to see and pick the actual disc that you're
It
going to buy.
is nice.
It is.
I went on there right after, and I nothing but it's great. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
It's simple, and it gives you everything you need. And like I said, you hover over the picture, you click that picture, and that's the disc you're going to buy.
Yeah.
The one that is pictured is the one that you're getting. So it's great. And of course, pictures don't do the exact justice of the colors and stuff like that. But essentially, we try to be as detailed as we can in the coloring. And then you click on that picture, and that's the color you get. And, weight and all that stuff. So it's all lining up.
The homepage is so much better than the original.
It was.
It is. Yeah.
It is, not was. It
is. Yeah.
Because you just scroll a little bit and you get options of the discs that you can see. Instead of before, we had to choose the featured disc that went on the front page.
Yep.
And it was good for when we had hundreds of discs. But now when you have thousands of discs in stock, it makes it a lot more difficult to travel through. So
And Matt, and I don't know who else it was, built more bins.
more storage, more storage. Yeah, so that was Lucas Stabenow who did it. So they
Lucchese.
built new bins and then did some rearranging. And I haven't been there to see it yet, but Thursday I plan on going down. And then, or Friday, one of the two. But then I know we have some other shelving when I'm down there. We're going to look at it. We bought it, and that was just piecing it together.
Okay.
But we're going to paint it, piece it together. And they're standard gondola styles like you see in supermarkets and stuff like that. But they're 4 foot high. So as long as we have all the pieces, we're going to start sanding and getting those painted and then put together. So by summer, we'll have over 10,000 discs in stock. Wow. So, yeah. So not only largest by square footage, but we're getting up there in discount too. So keeping it going. But we are tournament schedule heavy. Our first tournament is within about a month, the Springtime Open. Actually, almost exactly a month from today. So we got 2 more days, and it'll be exactly a month. And then I think it's off and running because then the next tournament is on the 14th, which is at Shorewood, the new UWGB course. And then it's just kind of tournament after tournament. We have at least one every month. So plus flexes. So it'll be exciting. All right, what do you want to talk about first?
Doesn't matter to me.
Let's start at the top then. Let's start Brodie Smith.
Okay.
So first, I want to say kudos to Brodie Smith and getting back with the Dude Perfect guys and doing a trick shot challenge.
Yeah. Well, it was like a championship, right? That's what it was. Like the
So they
trick
brought
shot
8
championships.
groups, 8 YouTube channels together or trick shot people together. And it seemed like really Brodie and Dude Perfect were the OGs. Like they're the OGs of trick shots, right?
Pretty much.
And then they had a bunch of newer people. There's those 2 kids from Milwaukee. What are their brothers' names? But
I don't.
My son watches them all the time.
Okay.
But they're 2 kids from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And then, but they had a bunch of people, and Brodie still got it. He made it to the finals.
Yeah.
Of the trick shot, and I won't ruin it for you from there, but he still got it, man. And you actually read through comments. I was just reading through comments just to see. There's a lot of people that are like, love seeing Brodie. I can't believe he's back. I can't believe he's doing these things. So big changes is what he announced, right?
Right.
Tell us about that.
Well, from what I understand is Brodie's not really a professional disc golfer anymore.
Nope.
And he kind of made that known on like through a comment, someone commented about touring and he kind of said, no, I'm kind of just one of you guys now. So I'm curious, as far as he's got a busy life,
right,
with foundation, like his wife's NFL cheerleader, dog, whatever. He was on a cruise recently, a bunch of stuff. So it just seems like he'll still be creating content. He's still doing tour life because they were just doing tour life tonight and everything. But yeah, pro tour life is just kind of passed him by for now. I mean, I still think maybe he might show up at an event or two,
sure,
here and there, as long as it's like fits his schedule and everything. But like permanently, like almost every weekend, week out, not going to happen.
No, he is a roller coaster as far as disc golf goes. He is all over the place because when was it? Back in November, we had the very first time we talked about him where he was talking about how he doesn't have the passion for disc golf again. Right?
Yes.
And then sometime early December, maybe even late November, we talked about how he was coming out and saying, oh, now I no, it's not that I don't like it. It's that I don't want to put the time into it, and I got a lot of other stuff going on, and blah, blah, blah. And then was it early January that he was talking about how he's got the bug again? Because he went and did something with disc golf.
Yes.
And he was like, ooh, I got the bug again.
Right.
I'm feeling like it's, going to be something that's going to be top of mind. I'm going to play a full tour, all this stuff. And then sometime early February, we find out that he took a demotion on the Discraft team. And now we hear that he's essentially not going to tour anymore as a pro.
Right.
So, disc golf roller coaster.
Right. So these are the next events he signed up for. He signed up for Waco, which is in like...
It's like a month, right?
Nope. A couple days, like 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Just under 2 weeks. Then he's got the MVP Open at Austin. And then he doesn't have another tournament till Discmania Challenge.
When is that?
That's all the way June 27th.
Wow. So he's skipping almost a month and a half.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say he's not a pro because he's playing pro tour events. But his PDGA membership is expired. He's still rules certified, official certified. Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. 103 events, 42,000 career. Played 12 events last year. He was hurt, I believe. So yeah, very, very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. So we will see how long it lasts. Brodie has kind of gone on a lot of different adventures over the years.
That's true.
But he stayed with disc golf for quite a while. What, 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah.
What, 2019?
Yeah.
Something like that?
I'm curious, as far, if you were to ask him, does he feel like he made the impact on the sport that he wanted to, or on the sport that he wanted to? Is he happy with his place right now in the sport? And does he still feel like he has that positive influence to help make changes?
Right.
You know,
right.
So yeah, just some interesting questions to.
That would be some very. I wonder if he would respond to us.
Yeah, maybe.
I wonder if we reached out and just said, "Hey," and asked those questions, because I feel like those are very relevant, and I would love to hear his opinion on it. I would love to hear what he has to say, because I don't know if he realizes the impact he had on disc golf, or has had. Let's go with had.
Yeah.
I don't know if he still has. I don't know if he realizes the impact he had on disc golf and how he brought it to the forefront of a lot of people's minds that never even thought about it. And there was 2+ million people on the one channel between the two channels that followed him, and they found him, and there's people like myself who have been watching him since almost day one, and just here and there watching his antics and finding him through his different morphings of what Brodie Smith does. And I'm sure there's people that aren't disc golf fans. I just happen to be one that followed him into disc golf.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Not only that, but his knowledge of social media and marketing and that whole space, he brought that to disc golf. And I think he matured the disc golf world in that regard.
It definitely made them
quickly.
look at it in a different light, right?
Absolutely.
People were on social media, but the attention to what they can achieve as far as disc sales, reach, getting new sponsorships through social media, all that changed for sure.
Just knowing how to leverage themselves. And no one really did that prior to Brodie Smith. I mean, Macbeth did.
Yeah.
But he did that through his play. I mean, we've talked about this. I'm not going to go into it again. There's 3 levels of player, in my opinion. And I think Brodie Smith is one of those guys that helped people realize that, and who knows, who knows. But to see him in the Dude Perfect stuff is awesome. To hear that he's going back to trick shots and is going to start again. And even that whole disc golf video, he's like, man, I forgot how fun that whole Dude Perfect video, forgot how fun this was. I can't wait to do it again. In the comments of the video, you see Brodie Smith, can't wait to see you guys next year. Hope you guys are in it, blah, blah, blah. So he's going back into trick shots.
Yeah.
The only thing we can hope for is that the trick shots include disc golf.
Yeah.
A lot more than they used to.
I would hope so.
I think so.
Because I remember when he first kind of got into the trick shots, he was doing stuff with Simonm and Macbeth. Like they were at the trampoline park kind of doing stuff. And then he was at a school, I think. He threw like a scuba through like a basketball hoop and like all this. There's some other things. And he brought the foundation guys with him to the Dude Perfect thing. Like you could kind of like they weren't involved in the trick shots, but you could really ever
see them, but you caught glimpses of them here and there. Yeah, which I thought was pretty cool, and I'm sure an awesome experience for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
awesome experience for them, and especially to meet these people. Like, how cool is that? They are modern day celebrities for us, of course.
Yeah.
And I think some of the younger generation seeing Brodie Smith, this is a whole nother level of impact. That there's a lot of younger generation that don't know who Brodie Smith is. They know who Dude Perfect is because Dude Perfect became this bigger than anybody. But they don't know who Brodie Smith is. And when you talk about bringing a whole new generation into talking about Brodie Smith, like there's exposure to disc golf again if they go down that rabbit hole, and they will. And these younger kids, they'll start watching videos and they'll start seeing disc golf and they'll want to start doing disc golf. And if Brodie Smith starts using disc golf to do trick shots, then there you go. So that would be awesome. But Foundation and Brodie Smith, I think it's going to be fun to watch what's going to happen over the next couple of years here with him transitioning back to trick shots.
Indeed.
But now he has golf, disc golf, and his normal ultimate stuff. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. All right. Want to talk about Disc Golf Pro Tour?
Yeah.
So here's some changes in the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Some of the big stuff that the Disc Golf Pro Tour is talking about, one of the biggest things right now is Disc Golf Pro Tour is not allowing cameras for vlogging style videos on Disc Golf Pro Tour sites anymore. They're starting to crack down on it. They're only allowing phone cameras.
Yeah.
The justification is that it is a conflict with media and it can impact the viewership of the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
That's what it seems like.
The DGN, right?
Yeah.
Is what they're protecting.
that's kind
they're
of the
trying
argument.
to protect.
Yeah.
I think it's invalid, and I think the only thing they're doing is hurting the popularity of disc golf.
Agreed.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because the more videos, the more views, the better off the sport's going to be.
Absolutely.
Right?
So, yeah, because like we've seen two media side, Simonm for one, Disc Golf World is the other, recently make announcements. So Simonm now is during Pro Tour stops doing daily vlogs. And so I thought it was Joey Tamale at first. He has hired somebody else. I forgot what the guy's name is. But he's like kind of a professional at it. So he's got, professional cameras. Like he had like 2 Canon C70s or something, like really nice cameras for capturing video, pictures and everything. And after, I forgot it was round 2 or 3, whatever it was, they said, hey, you can't use these cameras anymore. You have to use a phone just like anybody else.
Right.
So with that being said, Disc Golf Pro Tour, because I was kind of looking at this before, there's 2 levels of credentials you can get for the Pro Tour. There is a yellow level, which would be like anybody kind of like us. Like if we were going to the Pro Tour and we're getting spectator badges and we want to get media badges, we could record stuff in designated areas. Like they have zones for media to do interviews, capture video or photos, but you have to be in these zones. Right. Then there's green level, which is anybody using pro level equipment. You get access, beyond the rope. Like, so that would be like your Jomez, your DGN, Ace Run, like those kind of people before DGN, Pro Tour zapped everybody up.
Right.
My thought was that Simon's guy probably had the wrong credentials.
Probably.
So he was using these pro level cameras out on the course, but he didn't have the credentials to be where he was or use the pro level camera. So they told him he has to go back to using the phone.
Okay.
I mean, phones are really good now as far as capturing
for sure
video, and that's just on the course, right? So like off the course, he can go back to using these professional level cameras and everything. Just on the course, he can't do it.
Right.
So that sounds like the Pro Tour is kind of protecting themselves from anybody recording with professional cameras besides themselves, because like you said, they're trying to kind of funnel all the money there. Is kind of like what I'm getting. Yeah. But
they're monopolizing it. What they're doing.
Exactly. You do have to pay for the credentials. They start at $1,000 from what I had seen on their website. They can go up to $50,000. 50. I don't know if it's an event by event basis. If the 50,000 is like, hey, you can be like all tour,
anywhere, everywhere.
I kind of reached out to the Pro Tour just to ask, that question, like, is it an event by event basis? Is it because Pro Tour actually has media rights to anything that you were to record there too. Yep. So I'm like, okay, how does that work? Do you have to brush it by you, like whatever? Because there's a couple shots on Simon's vlog where you do see him throw a shot. He's not using like a whole round's worth of video. He's recording the interviews, in like a practice area or away from a practice area. There's 1 or 2 shots of him throwing on a hole.
Right.
But most of the vlogs are taken outside of the Pro Tour anyway.
Right.
But yeah, just kind of a weird situation.
Yeah, but why hinder yourself and why monopolize that? So we've seen this happen once before. Do you remember what it was? And you remember the fallout? It was
I briefly remember,
Brodie
but
and Paul. Remember it?
Yes. Okay.
It was at Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember this now because they were recording practice rounds, and the DGPT is like,
Yep.
I do remember that now that you said that.
And DGPT said no.
Was it him and Brodie?
It was him and Brodie.
Yeah, right.
Filming a video for the YouTube channel.
Right. Yeah.
And they said no, and then him, Brodie, and Hannah got crazy about it. Started posting, doing all that stuff, and all of a sudden that stuff came down because then they relented and said, "Okay, no problem." Ultimately, no one wants that to happen.
No.
And I don't understand, and I do understand because they're trying to capture as much of the dollars they can that comes into these places.
Right.
They are paying the money to rent them. They're paying the money to put on the event. They're paying the money to the staff. They're paying, so essentially it is theirs for that period of time.
And they still are not making a profit.
Right.
As of now.
Yeah.
So you need all that.
And who is in disc golf?
True.
When it comes to tournaments.
Yeah, right.
Where the profit is in sales of discs or sponsorships or whatever it may be. And that's true across the board. Now, that's a whole nother issue that we can talk about at one point, but that system is broken now. Like the tournament schedule of payments is broken because, and to change it right now would be an absolute revolution. Like a revolutionary idea, and not in the good way, more like in the shoot 'em up, bang, bang, like French Revolution or the American Revolution. It would be something that would cause a revolution.
Yeah.
Because you are taking money out of the players' pockets of what they're used to be getting, because right now it's an insane amount of money that these players get out of the proceeds. And it is what it is. We manage to go by and do it, and there's ways to make money through tournament directing. But these big tournaments, the only way they make money is through disc sales and sponsorships. It's not through the players. The players are not making them money. So I understand what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I also think that it's a pretty nearsighted thing. You need your audience to grow in order for those dollars to go up. So if you're taking another avenue away of someone watching the Disc Golf Pro Tour and potentially attending or starting to play, you've taken that away.
Yeah.
You've taken it away. All because you want to protect a dollar that's the dollar that's in hand rather than the prospective dollars that there could be. That can exponentially grow.
Right.
So it's business-wise doesn't make sense to me. But I don't see the whole picture.
No, I know.
I just see the fan side and then maybe a little bit of the media side, but that's it.
Well, here's the other crazy thing is who better to tell a story of pro disc golf right now than Simon Lizotte?
Exactly.
He has more followers YouTube wise than just about anybody. I think the closest people probably Jomez.
Right.
Like he definitely has more viewers than the Pro Tour themselves.
Right. As an independent disc golfer, like a true dedicated disc golfer, like Brodie Smith is an anomaly. We'll put him on another scale.
Yes.
But you got Simon Lizotte is the highest followed disc golfer on YouTube. Plain and simple.
So it's very strange. You want the coverage. You want to expand. Yet you're sitting here and you're like, well, we only want to expand as far as we want to expand without outside help. Now today I was listening to Staggered Stands. They had the new president of the DGPT on, interviewing him and everything. I was kind of listening to it.
Who's the new president? They made a change?
It was announced a little while ago. I forgot what his name is.
It's not Jeff anymore? Corns? Or
shoot.
Showers? No, corns.
Let's see. DGPT.
Or was he on the operations side? He wasn't part of
He
that.
might have been on the operations side.
Huh.
So Jeff Spring is
Jeff Spring, there you go.
tour director.
Okay.
Shoot, this doesn't have any. This is like on the inquiries contact.
Okay. So Jeff Spring is still there. I thought for some reason I thought he was the president.
Still there.
Okay, so there must be a new person because I thought Todd Rainwater was the president, but he was the owner.
It's not coming up on the Pro Tours
Site
right now.
Okay.
But okay, so anyway, one of the things he was talking about today on Staggered Stance was they were talking about SFO, and he said, it's incredibly hard to film in the woods, like he was kind of like talking about media-wise, and expand our story. He's like, because they asked him, how can we get more sponsorship to Disc Golf Tour, a presenting sponsor, that kind of situation. It's like, we need more coverage, but right now it's really hard with, telling our story. Well, then you need help.
Right.
You need more people to help you tell that story.
Yes.
Don't just have it be just the Pro Tour, just Jomez, just DGN. Allow other people to help you expand and tell that story.
There is this idea that the only way that I can be successful is through my own means. And I don't understand that idea because there is the only way that you're going to be unsuccessful is by relying on yourself, right?
Right.
I mean, I don't think there's anyone that would disagree with that. Now, there is a point where your hard work has to be kind of the tipping point, like as an individual or as an individual entity, a company. But you still have to rely on the economies around you. You have to rely on the other people around you because there is no such thing as a independent business with an independent idea that independently grows to an independent, because there's no way that you're going to be able to grow your coffers or your fan base or anything without the help of others, because you have to have other people that are excited about it to help you grow, right? Yeah. So look at the modern tactics of brands nowadays. So think about any internet brand that you see that's basically direct to buyer and direct to buyer. And how do they market? They market through a ton of influencers and they market through digital media. That's it. And they are amazing stuff. Some of these like Brunt Workwear. The story of Brunt?
I feel like I've heard of that.
So Brunt Workwear is like boots. They started out as just a single pair of boots.
I've just heard of them, yes.
And it was like what do they call them? Those Kickstarter type things. And they are one of the fastest growing clothing and boot companies in the United States now. Yeah. And the way they did that through influencers.
Okay.
So each influencer was able to tell their own story. Well, of course, I'm sure. So make an agreement with them. If you're here on site, this is a story you need to tell.
Yeah.
That's how you get your story out there.
True. I mean, you could partner with just about any pro disc golfer, bring them in to help create content.
Right.
And do it that way.
Instead of taking money from the content creator, why don't you push some money out to the content creator and stop relying on these antiquated marketing techniques that are obviously not working, right?
Yeah.
Push it into the digital marketing that you have on site with people that are there with cameras.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have the infrastructure. All you do is throw them like, hey, I'll give you $1,000 to come to every one of our events. I'm not going to, now you got to pay it for every one event, but come to every one of our events and tell this story. As long as you tell this story, you'll get the $1,000.
Yeah.
They would be like, absolutely.
But you know what the other hard thing is? I was just thinking about this, is we have this idea for the Pro Tour to reach out as far and broad. Like that is the ultimate goal, right?
I think that's what they say. Yeah.
There are still people in disc golf that could care less about the Pro Tour. You need to work on capturing those people as well. We're worried about capturing the bigger market. We still have to work on capturing the people in disc golf that just play and can care less about the Pro Tour side of things.
Exactly. And there will be a marginal portion of any sport that doesn't care about the professional side,
Yeah.
right? But think about soccer or football.
Yeah.
Think about soccer. Who doesn't care that's a soccer fan about the World Cup?
Oh, it's very hard.
Very few people, right?
Right.
Because they've made it into this thing and they've marketed it, and there's history and there's, you know, rivalries and blah, blah, blah. But over time, that's how that's happened, right? Now, there's legacy football teams that have been there for decades and decades and decades and generations, you know. But it's still a good, valid comparison. The amount of soccer fans that watch the World Cup compared to the amount of disc golf fans that watch Pro Tour events, night and day difference. Night and day difference. Because I would probably say the amount of disc golfers that actually make it a priority to watch DGPT events is less than the amount that make it a priority, or more than the amount of make it priority. So I bet you it's like a 70-30 split. I bet you 70% of disc golfers out there could care less about the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So I think you're right. I think that's a very valid point. Like, why don't we work on disc golfers? Because disc golfers are spread the word.
Yes.
Because how often do you get into a room and someone starts talking about disc golf and you're like, I want to tell you about disc golf. And then you finally realize like, oh, maybe I'm just saying too much about disc golf. Like, I've lost him. He's glazed over. You know,
Sure.
Let that work for you. And the only way you're going to do that is by letting the influencers influence their crowds. I that's the way I see it anyways. But I don't know. Yeah. They're obviously not. I don't know if they've made the appropriate steps for growth yet.
True. I mean, it's hard now that disc golf is stagnant. It's very plateaued. It's hard for it to see growth right now, or where it's going.
But there's companies that are in disc golf that are still seeing growth.
True.
Right? I mean, and I like, this is not a braggadocious thing. Door disc golf is one of those. Like, we are still seeing growth in a time where disc golf is flat.
Yeah. Well, even
but we're making appropriate choices to make that growth, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have made the appropriate choices. Not saying we're going to continue to. It can fall out at any minute, but.
Well, even Paul this weekend, Simon, Vessi, the footwear company, they are just now getting into disc golf and starting to sponsor players and
That's fantastic.
Get into, you know, they see disc golf as some kind of avenue that they can reach out and so new product. I'm sorry, like that's not like I'm not like pushing them or anything, but that's just an example of
but why
somebody
not?
new coming in and supporting disc golf.
Absolutely. And there's a protectionist vibe out there. We're like, well, what about IDEO? What about IDEO? If they're not doing it, they're not doing it. There's a vacuum there. It needs to be filled. Like, and if Vessi comes in and does it, awesome. Because before IDEO, there was Keen. Before Keen, or actually, there was Keen, then Adidas, then Keen,
Merrell,
then Merrell was a little, So I mean, you look at some of those brands and like, there's room for it all out there. You know, you just have to be open for it. Like, you got to make sure that you're allowing for it to happen, and playing this protectionist, it's all mine, I'm the only one that can make it happen, is ridiculous. And I'll say it again. There's this concept called the economy of conglomeration. The better everybody does, the better one person does, the better everybody does, right?
Yeah.
But you got to involve the everybody. You can't just be the one person, because it will eventually it'll fail. Guaranteed. So, did we beat that horse enough?
Yeah, I'm just gonna
please
just talk about the disc golf world situation. Just briefly. Okay, so Jefferson. I mean, this is a lot to talk about media and everything, but this is like, it's kind of a non-story, but it is a story, right? In our world, disc golf world popular. You know, they got like 28,002 subscribers. They were denied a media credential for the Disc Golf Pro Tour this year. And if you follow their, if you're a subscriber or whatever, they're
controversial.
A bit, yes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So, and
unfiltered.
Yes, unfiltered. And so they were denied. And so that kind of means that obviously they can't use extra footage that they would be filming at the Pro Tour. They also do recaps, video recaps and everything that for the tour.
Yep.
Now, they don't hold back like about DGN, everything else.
Love it.
That's perfectly fine. We're critical of them, from time. Not on their level, I don't think.
No.
we do get critical of them.
Sure.
And so I was watching one of their videos the other day, and it was the All-Star video. They use DGN footage, logos, like the All-Star logos, and you can clearly see, the footage that they're using. And then, they cover it up, but they were inserting Reddit posts, things of that nature with that's just what their style is.
Their editing is, I like it. It's entertaining.
It is entertaining. And so what they're doing is they're using what would be, what's it called? Fair use, right? Like you're allowed to take footage and, use it for educational purposes, commentary, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And so, but you have to give credit to the source. Now, they're taking that product, covering it up, but like you can still see it. But just because we know where it's from, I don't think they're crediting. Like it's not,
not appropriately crediting.
Not appropriately crediting. So I'm kind of curious if they've said some things about the DGPT that are obviously hurtful. They're using this content, not giving them the proper credit, like where they got it from.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this sounds like a real grudge situation.
It does.
And it's also kind of one of those situations where you're using the content. You can't, what's the phrase? You can't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yes. Yeah.
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 And that's kind of what it feels like. You're getting these, you're using this, media form for your own sake. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know.
But who doesn't do that?
No, true.
And in essence, if we had some ability to edit, we'd probably be doing the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, it gets kind of murky. Like I don't know if I'd want to really,
clips,
yeah.
Clips for sure.
Sure.
And I think we would obviously give, we pulled this from.
Yeah.
But in the same regard, like, I think what they're doing, so I'm a huge fan of Disc Golf World. And I think Swiss Cheese is hilarious. I love listening to him. You don't hear much from Jefferson JK Disc Golf. Like, you don't hear him too often on the commentary.
Right. Well, it's weird too. They were doing like a video podcast where I think it was coming out pretty weekly, but they have since like the past couple of weeks they haven't done it. Like they record and show them both on camera. Mm-hmm. Now it's a lot of that just voiceover work.
That's what I see. Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, but I'm a fan of them, and I'm a fan of them because they are that polarizing voice.
Yes.
And that's why I like it, because we had that conversation. I think it was on our last episode. Was it the last episode or the episode before last? But I said those are the voices we need. We need the polarizing voices.
Yeah, absolutely.
To create controversy, to create, rivalries, to create all these different things. And even if it's not real, they're perceived, right?
Right.
And I think that Disc Golf World is one of those groups that do that online, because everybody else is so bobbleheady. Like they're not afraid to say the obvious things about stuff. And I think Disc Golf World, since the beginning, has been saying stuff, and they're not very old.
No,
they got pretty big pretty quick. Because I remember in the very beginning when our Instagram was growing, I remember seeing both of them, follow, and they weren't really anything, and then all of a sudden they became something pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I remember even talking about it, because now that you said the JK Disc Golf and they were from Wisconsin, I was like, oh, I remember that now, because I remember having a conversation with somebody where it was on the disc golf course, and I said something about JK Disc Golf, and I think you had a similar name at the time.
I was going to try to use the JK Disc Golf, and then I forgot what the situation was. If I followed him or he followed, like we both kind of found each other.
Yeah.
Jefferson doesn't post a whole lot.
No.
Personally, or Swiss Cheese. Like their followings personally are very low.
Yes.
On Instagram, but the Disc Golf World, that has close to 5,000 on Instagram, I believe.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they post a whole lot there either. Most of the stuff's YouTube.
Right. Yeah, and I don't remember, but you had something that was like JKP, or I don't remember
something
what
like that.
It was. And I remember saying, oh, it was like JK Disc Golf, and I mentioned you, but then they were like JK Disc Golf, and someone like rolled their eye, and I was like Jeremy Kellen? And he goes, oh no, the guy named Jefferson. And I was like, oh, so someone doesn't like him. And then I didn't know who he was at that point. But then, everything, like all these dots connect. The disc golf world is so small that not the podcast,
right,
but the world, the game of disc golf, So, but anyways, it's fun to make those connections. But all in all, I like what they do. I mean, I don't agree with some of the stuff they say. Actually, quite a bit of stuff they say I don't necessarily agree with, but I love the presentation. And I love how they're just like so very like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, and I respect that. And I appreciate that they put it out there in the public like that. There's no issue, and I'm for it. Like, go for it, guys. Like, kill it. It sucks again that you see this like bad blood-ish, like how do you, and I know there's a video, it's for the members only, so it'll become public pretty soon, but I wonder what their take is on it. I wonder what they're going to say about it.
I do too. So interestingly enough, that at this time that they deny them media credentials, Jomaz is putting out a podcast for after, like, what is it? I forgot what it's called. Birdies and no birdies, all birdies, no bogeys. It's the new Earhart
Perkins. Yeah.
I was like, oh, so Jomaz is getting in on this post-round, situation. I mean, that's what a lot of podcasts are doing now,
Right.
But it's just interesting. Like, it's not going to stop that, disc golf world from doing their thing. But you're denying these credentials, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, somebody that's part of
our post round.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
We can control the narrative.
Yeah.
But this is another opportunity. Hey, why don't you talk about this stuff and we'll throw you a couple grand or something like that. Like, there you go. You can start controlling the narrative to a sense. But it's fair, it's equitable, it's it's something that's agreed upon, it's a contract instead of playing this game. And now you've limited a almost 30,000 person or 30,000 subscribed YouTube channel from reporting on you. Like, there's 30,000 eyes now that won't see as much of you.
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense.
I mean, they'll still probably talk about it, but. To what extent?
Yeah, exactly.
Now you're gonna get really bad press as well. Like, you're gonna do this to us. Guess what? We're gonna lean into you guys extra hard. For doing this.
And guess what? There is a whole nother tour out there that's starting up.
That as well, starting next weekend.
Yep, exactly. So, boy, oh boy, I see some scared tactics that you can see the anxiety in the Disc Golf Pro Tour with some of the actions that they're making now.
Sure.
So we'll see. I hope it all works out. I mean, because I think two entities is going to be great. I think they can both survive. I think they can both thrive. But we'll see. We'll see. It all depends on their actions. I mean, the Gotta Throw Tour, right? Go Throw Tour. And then the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And isn't that wow?
I'm just saying, Go Throw Tour is free. You're not going to have to be behind the DGN wall.
Yeah, and it's kind of hearkening back to what disc golf used to be, and I think that alone will help them survive.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, no one wants to pay. Like, you get guff for discs going up $2. You know, when the manufacturers are like, hey, guess what? Plastic is expensive. We got to raise our MSRPs. Or we got to raise our MSRP, so that means your prices are going to go up, and then we raise to the customers, and we get complaints.
Yeah,
by $2. But you want us to spend how much money for DGN? In the content sucks. If we even get it, you know, like. So, anyways,
excuse me.
We would never get media badges.
You never know.
Yeah. But I'm not paying $1,000 for a media badge. That's stupid.
Might have to do something offsite.
Yeah, exactly. We'll stand right outside the gate. Yeah, and here at the SFO. Anyways, here we go. Supreme Flight Open. Let's talk about that.
All right.
So first, I want to talk about Simon's OB gate.
Oh, okay.
They have some really good footage of it, but essentially what happens is Simon throws a disc. It works out really, really well, and then somebody kicks a OB rope, and it lifts it up at the same exact time that the disc looks like it's going to be coming back into bounds.
Yes.
Hit back in bounds, hits the rope, stands up, and then kind of basically pushes back out of bounds.
Yeah.
So Simon takes an OB stroke.
Yeah.
But at least it came back in bounds because it hit the cord.
Right.
That the guy's foot was pulling up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we call the OB gate. So
this isn't the first time we've seen some crazy OB. There's the umbrella gate.
Yeah, the umbrella gate, the water bottle gate at Memorial.
Yep.
What was it? That was it was Conrad, James Conrad, remember?
Yeah.
Where it like skipped OB and then it hit the water bottle right on the side of the and it was going to come back in, but
and
it
then
hit the OB.
There's another situation where, wasn't it Garrett Gerthy that threw a disc and hit a, like the guy was like standing.
Oh, it hit the spine.
It hit the guy like right in the nose.
Yes. Man, didn't it like break his nose or something like that? Or maybe it hit him in the chest? Or
maybe that's what it was. It like bounced funny and like hit him. And
I wouldn't want to be hit by Garrett Gerthy's discs.
No,
Holy moly.
But so I think it was a scorekeeper. Mm-hmm. He probably thought he was in like a really like a decent spot. Like he was behind catch cam, out of the way. And I watched it, and people on Facebook and Reddit were kind of defending him, like, oh, it was even Simon's like, it's an accident, these things happen or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why are we using rope? Like, why are we using string? Why isn't it just painted?
Yeah.
And some guys like, oh, well, strings might be cheaper than, painting and lining. And then someone's like, well, can you imagine the amount of time, there's dew and, possible rain. And I'm like, but I've lined soccer fields and stuff. You can get paint that lasts for weeks.
Yes.
It's not going to just wash out in a day or 2 days. It lasts. You can get, it's like chalk paint. You just throw it down, or eco-friendly paint, it washes away.
Rope moves, paint does not.
It. Yeah.
So Eric McCabe, who's a amazing course designer, tournament, this is one of the things that I disagree with on him, because he's a rope guy.
Okay.
Although he has paint everywhere.
Yeah.
He's a rope guy. Like, if you can use rope, use rope. Because then it's a clear delineated, between
But
pins,
it's always supposed
markers.
to be the markers themselves. That's what it is. The out of bounds line doesn't matter. If you're within, over across that marker, that's what it is.
And that's what it is. Now, if there is a line, then that's the mark that you have to go by. Or if there's paint, that's the mark you have to go by. And the line I like, because it's a defined line.
True.
It doesn't have that blade of grass that can fall over, and
Right.
you're like, well, but I'm touching, because everybody's going to try to play that game. But I agree with you. Like, paint the lines, folks. Like, what's a can of paint? $6, and it'll probably go hundreds of feet. Like,
Sure.
we're good. We can take care of that, or get a hold of Krylon and see if they want to like sponsor a
Heck yeah. Oh my God.
tournament. Hello.
Right.
Like, look at how well these lines come out,
Hey, Pro Tour would be like, we would really love to use you guys as a partner for an official paint of the Pro Tour.
Dude, we paint so many lines. Can we use you as a paint sponsor? And all you got to do is just give us the product. And there you go. Maybe some of those like dolly cart things that you push around with the paint cans in them.
That'd be super.
Yeah. So, no harm, no foul. Like, Simon's fine with it. Everybody seems to be, it is what it is. But, there's some things that can be learned about. Like, is there a reason you need to be on the inbound side of,
Right.
as a scorekeeper? Like, some of the privileges, but do you really need to be on the inbound side of an OB line?
Yeah.
Or should you have just stayed on the outside? But then
Right.
again, it might have hit him.
It might have hit up. There's always that chance. It could have curled back, hit him, and gone out of bounds. Couldn't tell exactly if the line was elevated or if it was on the ground when he lifted it up.
Elevated.
So it was already an elevated line.
No. It was on the ground, and he kind of caught his toe underneath it and lifted it up.
So it looked. Some people were saying he tripped. It looked purposeful from another
Sure
time that I
does.
did, that he was trying to lift it so the disc could go under, right?
Yep.
And that was the other thing too. I was like, it probably would have just came back in bounds if it just crossed over.
Yep.
There's no reason to lift the line at all.
No.
So
It was a weird, like, what he was doing, because what it looked like, and I'm sure it was innocent. It was not,
Right.
I don't think he actually meant to do it. So for the scorekeeper, like, don't give that guy a hard time.
No.
But what it did look like from the camera angle that I saw was that he went to go across the line, got his toes stuck, and then tried to lift his foot off of the line, and it brought the line up. But it looked like he was trying to lift the line up to where the disc could go underneath it, like you said.
Right.
But I think he was just like, he stopped and then he went to move back. And when he moved back, he noticed his foot was stuck and he lifted his foot off.
Oh, like he was trying to get his foot out from under the...
Yes.
That
and then it just caught the line and lifted it up. And it was just timing. Like a second sooner, a second later, no, it would have been a moot point.
Sure.
But it's good we have these things, at least with something to talk about.
Yeah. Stuff to talk about.
But in reality, it didn't affect the overall standing of Simon. You know, I mean, it did, but not as far as a podium standing.
Sure.
So, Supreme Flight, Macbeth and Dylan Cease.
Yep.
That's the course. It used to be called Olympus, right? Or it is still called
Olympus? It is Olympus.
Okay. Yeah. It's called Olympus, but it used to be called something else.
Yes.
It was the old, basically...
it was the throw down the mountain.
Yeah. What was that
course.
called? Anyways, so, yeah, it's throw down the mountain course. And it used to be just as, like, it would be open for 1 month of the year, and that was it. And now it is a full-time pro shop. Everything's good.
Yeah.
So... we've got women and men that both podiumed. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Okay.
You want them?
Well, I can. Yeah.
Okay.
So Ella Hansen took down the FPO side in dramatic fashion.
Very nice.
She beat out Holland Hanley and Evelina in a 3-way playoff. Holland had a pretty good lead coming into the final round. She was kind of cruising in the first 2 rounds. And then around hole 10, things kind of started falling apart for her.
Okay.
Maybe it was a little later. I forgot what hole it was. She hit a bogey, and then from that, it kind of played some mind games with her. Her forehand shot, you could watch her through the round, wasn't really working for her that well. Ella was making some moves. She was making some like decent birdies, quite a few pars. Macy Valadiaz was on the lead card as well. She was playing fairly decent. She had a really long par. She had like 9 pars in a row at one point. Okay. Like she was like had birdie looks, and then she threw a couple shots. I don't want to say she's can't talk. I don't want to say it seemed like she was playing safe, but she wasn't taking many chances at that point. And then, like, towards the end of her round, she actually bogeyed 2 out of the last 3 holes, I believe.
But her game looked good.
It did.
Her game looked good. I saw short clips of it. Her game looked good. I did see a couple call-outs of her foot faults where she's like midair before the disc, even like on step putts.
Yeah, so on 18 there's a really weird case. Her disc was just by the mark for the circle, and it was like just on the edge. I was like, oh, that's really close. So she must have just been on the edge of the circle for her to be able to step putt. I was like,
probably one of those, if she would have marked it, it would have been in the circle, but she didn't, so she was outside.
Yeah, it was something weird like that. But she ended up finishing 5th, and so she took she bogeyed 2 out of the last 3 holes. But Kat Murch had she had the hot round. She was -8. She finished 4th. She moved up a spot from Chase Card, and she actually birdied the last 4 holes.
Wow,
to move up, and she shot a 10.28.
Jeez, good for her.
Yeah. So there's a couple of people 1,000 grade rounds, but yeah, Ella played solid. She had she had 2 bogeys on the day, but other than that, I mean, it was really good. Holland, dropped down. She was I think she started at -10. She finished at 13 down, tied with Evelina and Ella. But Evelina too, Evelina played decent throughout the tournament. Like she was on feature card right away because she was the defending champion. And so her putting actually looked kind of decent, which is shocking. I mean, overall, I think for the tournament, what did she? Let me just look real quick. Oh no! Oh, that's just as of the round. So she putted terrible for the round. I mean, her circle 1 in regulation was good. Circle 2 regulation was really good, but like C1X, 43% in the final round.
Oh,
Yeah.
43. I mean, that's 10 feet are in. Those are wow. It's amazing that a professional disc golfer is that rusty from that close. Like,
Right.
C1X should be 100% all the time.
First round, 92%. Second round fell off a little bit, 82%. But I mean, that's decent for her. I think
So
she
she's
gained
doing 92. That means she had more than 10 putts within circle 1.
Yes.
Or
Like
C1X.
She was parking quite a few shots round 1.
Okay.
Like she was doing pretty well there. And then this final round, like she just, there was times where she had one putt, I forgot what holes, it was slightly uphill. She like top banded it and, fell. There was a couple times she, just would hit the cage, like, just shorted putts.
Yeah.
But then there's other times where she buzzed the basket. Like she hit the basket on, I think it was 17. Like she had this throw in. A lot of people at the final round were like, Cat Merch almost like threw in a couple. Like there's a lot of these throw-ins that almost happened. But yeah, I mean, overall, like it was a fun watch for sure. Hole 16 was new this year. I mean, there was some good changes. I don't know. I like the course.
Yeah. Are they still throwing up a cliff on the last hole on 18?
Yes. Yeah.
I love that hole.
So, Taylor Kostrek, is that her disc tay?
Oh, just say okay. Yeah.
She had to throw from the drop zone on 18, and she parked it, and that was like over 400 feet.
Jeez.
Yeah. I didn't see any coverage of it or anything, but that's the story that people were saying that she.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
That's just crazy.
That's a long throw.
It is a long throw.
Jeez.
So yeah, so Holland, first round, 5 down. Second round, 5 down as well. And then she had 3 down. And it stayed the same. So second round was Holland, Evelina, Macy, Ella, and same for the final round. So not much change. Silva had the hot round today, no, she didn't. Cat Merch had the hot round. Silva at one point had the hot round. She was in the clubhouse with -6. Cat Merch
with the 8 under.
With 8 under, beat her. And then let's see who else we have. Macy finished 5th. Silva, Ellie Ezra, Owen Scoggins, Rebecca Cox, and then Cadence Burge. That's the top 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Cadence Burge too. So we haven't seen her for a while. So she's kind of climbing back up there. That's good.
Yeah.
And Pierce was there, right?
Paige Pierce was there. I forgot where she finished. Where's Paige? Oh, she finished 11th.
Okay, so just outside.
Just
10th.
outside,
Okay.
yeah. Finished even final round.
Yeah. Well, it's good. I mean, we're
Kona
seeing her
finished
back.
25th.
Okay.
Well,
Innova got her for a deal though, compared to
True.
DD. So
true.
good for you, Innova.
True. And so this is, I believe it's Ellis Hansen's second DGPT.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I do, the trophy this year is cool. Last year they had the chessboard because it was chess.com.
Yep.
And chess.com was still at the event.
Okay. They just weren't the title sponsor.
They just weren't the title sponsor. And then what else was? Nate Heinold was the tournament director. So
Yeah, well,
Ledgestone
that
was
doesn't make
involved.
sense. Yeah.
So, but yeah, fun watch for the.
Wait, Nate Heinold, DGPT. I thought they couldn't be more than 1 or 2 tournaments a year for DGPT. And he has Worlds this year.
Mm-hmm.
And he has Ledgestone.
Yeah.
So that's 3 tournaments. DGPT. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the
Because you get
situation
perks
is.
being the PDGA president, huh?
Yeah.
So-
That's a strange. I'm wondering if since he has Worlds, like it doesn't count. It's hosting events.
Maybe. For some reason, I thought there was anyways.
Yeah. Anywho.
And then NPO side?
NPO side, we got Ezra Robinson taking down his first DGPT win, which is amazing.
Yes.
He had the Silver Series, the one in New York. I forgot what one.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But yeah, so he finished shooting a 12 down final round.
Wow.
He was 3 strokes back. Mm-hmm. And AB just kind of did not play well.
It didn't look like he played bad, though, because he still held on to second place.
He did. He just made some... He had one really bad hole. He had to blow up on hole 4. He shot a 3 over on hole 4. And then he bogeyed hole 16. But other than that, I mean, he had...
How much did he lose by?
He lost by 6 strokes.
Oh, jeez.
So, like, Ezra was blazing.
So even if, let's say he would have turned both of those into par, he was still lost by 2 strokes.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah. So Ezra just put a good round down.
Yes. And Ezra actually played solid the whole weekend. Bogey free last round. Bogey free. He might have gone bogey free the whole tournament. Oh,
wow.
He definitely had bogey. Let's just take a sec because I didn't see too much of the second round. Mm-hmm. Nope. He did have a bogey second round. But yeah, bogey free first round and third round.
Wow.
And final
that's
round.
great.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of difference because then the birdies add up, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Without bogeys, birdies add up real fast.
Absolutely.
I know that's a very duh statement, but of course.
Mm-hmm. So all weekend, pretty crazy. All weekend, feature card was, I'm pretty sure the feature card was all Discraft.
Yeah, the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, especially with Ricky.
Yeah. I mean, last year he would have been
Yep.
with Didi. But, you know, as far as that happening, it's more the archers, not the arrows. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It just happens to be that people are playing good. And it's going to happen, too, because Discraft has the huge roster.
Well, they have a huge,
So
between them and Innova, but Innova doesn't have any, they have top level players, but they don't have the team that Discraft has.
No.
This Discraft team is a historical team.
Yeah, we've mentioned that before.
Yeah, it's a
ever since like
team.
back in the day, Prodigy.
Yeah. So, but Ezra Robinson and then Barella came in second, and then good old P. McBee, Paul Macbeth, coming in
playing
third.
solid.
Yeah,
At his home course.
love to see it. And the crowds for that card were incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Mr. Wysocki in fourth, right?
Yep. And then Calvin behind him, Kyle Klein, Simon, Jake Munn, who's also DGA, but Discraft made, Adam Hammis, Austin Turner, and then Chris Dickerson.
Jeez.
I think Austin Turner's back with Discraft as well, from what I had heard. So, I mean, just domination.
So what? 9 of the top 10 were Discraft.
Yeah.
Simon was the only one not.
Oh, no, that's not true.
Oh, Klein.
Klein. Calvin.
Okay. And
Calvin, Kyle, and Simon. But other than that, Discraft made,
Good for them.
Unreal.
Good for
And Ezra and Isaac are the first brothers to have Pro Tour or Elite Series victories.
Oh, very neat.
Yeah. I mean, Val and Avery were the first siblings to have Elite Series victories together, but they're the first brothers.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So they're making history.
They are making
So now
history.
as Ezra gets a Worlds, then there'll be the second sibling set to get a Worlds.
Yes.
So that's cool.
That is cool.
Well, very neat. Very neat. All right. Anything inspirational to leave us on?
Do you know what Sunday is?
Hump day?
No, that's Wednesday.
What's Sunday?
Sunday is daylight savings time. I mean, we lose that hour of sleep, but
you get more sunshine.
we get more sunshine, which means more disc golf potential.
So, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How much do you hate daylight savings? Just the change in time.
Oh,
Like the spring forward, fall back? Like,
I don't really hate it that much.
I hate it. I hate
Really?
it. I hate it. I hate
Okay,
it. Like,
I will say this: it is harder to get kids to bed
yes.
during daylight savings time because it's late.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I hate. I do miss that hour of sleep, extra hour of sleep, because I know waking up Sunday and having to bring Dempsey to soccer practice, I'm gonna be behind.
Yeah.
And
I gotta have Malachi in Crivets
Oh,
at
gosh.
like 7:30 in the morning. So yeah, it's gonna be a Sunday
is there any
morning.
way you can stay over somewhere closer?
Yeah, we can.
Is this for a swim meet?
No, basketball. He's in an AAU basketball thing now. I just don't want to spend the money.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So I hate it because the reason why is I don't understand it. I simply do not understand it.
Totally get that sentiment because I don't necessarily get why we have to have it. Arizona, I think, is the one state in the United States that
Arizona and Idaho.
Oh, Arizona and Idaho. Okay.
Yeah.
They do not go by daylight savings time.
So they don't change their time. So they stay. So like Arizona goes from Pacific to mountain, back to Pacific, back to mountain.
Yeah, something like that.
So essentially they stay. I mean, they stay the same time no matter what. And
Right.
Idaho does the same thing. And I just don't get it because I would just much rather, like, when we spring forward here, just stay there.
Right.
Because it doesn't really, I mean, maybe it'll be dark at like 8 in the morning, during the off season, but so?
Yeah, I always heard it had to do with farming and, growing crops and all that stuff. I don't know how much it really affects them.
See, the thing that I don't understand is if with farming and growing crops, the change of the time does not change the amount of sunlight that there is in a day. It just changes when the sunlight is according to our arbitrary timekeeping, right?
Sure.
So if there's 12 hours of sunlight in a day,
You're still going to, yeah.
It doesn't matter where it's at. Like, it could be from midnight to noon. Like, there's still only 12 hours of sunlight.
Living in Alaska.
Yeah,
Whatever
like,
the
I don't know.
situation is, yeah.
So it's just like, why? Why are we beholden to these rules? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I understood it from way back in the day with the farmers, because what they did is that farmers would be out in the field doing whatever they were doing, and by the time they were done, everything was closed down. It was dark.
Yeah.
I kind of understood that reasoning, but to disrupt an entire economy and timing and all this stuff for that just doesn't make sense. Like, I just don't get it. I don't know. They had it on the roll this year to opt out of the daylight savings.
Yes.
And obviously no one, for some reason.
It's also this is what Google says, to conserve energy by utilizing more natural sunlight during the evening hours, with its origins dating back to World War I and when it was first implemented as a wartime measure to save fuel. The concept was originally proposed by Benjamin Franklin as a way to save candle usage. So that's way before World War I.
But wouldn't it make sense to keep the daylight into the later hours then when people are home rather than...
Yeah, I don't know. Right.
Well, no, because then you would turn on the lights when you got home. No, because the lights would be outside, so you wouldn't have to use them inside for longer, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So the spring forward makes sense.
Yeah.
And then just leave it there.
But then you'd be constantly springing forward.
Well, no, you just wouldn't change time.
Okay. So once you
like Arizona.
So now all of a sudden we're like, hey, we're done. We're going to spring forward this one time. We're done. And that's it. And then you just cut off daylight savings time from that time.
Yeah. And then it'll be dark. It'll be light until 10 o'clock at night, but it won't get light until 6 something?
Yeah.
During the prime, solstice or whatever.
Right. Because nowadays it's starting to get, now when it springs forward, it'll be dark. I mean, in the summer it gets light at 5:15 in the morning.
Yeah. But it also doesn't get dark until almost 9.
Yeah.
There's times where it's 9:15 or something like that. Okay, so it's 10:15. But it doesn't get light until 6:15. Mm-hmm. I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with that.
Because I'm usually, no, I'm not sleeping, but I'm just starting my day at that point. So I don't know. I would much rather see it just stay lighter longer, especially into the evenings. But anyways, that's just me.
Right on.
So, daylight savings. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. All right. If you could choose one vacation type for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, stadium tours.
Stadium tours. That's it. So whole family stadium tours, or just you?
Oh, I think it'd be fun to bring the whole family.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Stadium tours.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life.
I think so.
Okay. Okay.
Because I feel like if you do stadium tours, there's other stuff around there that you could probably do. But think about it. There's so many stadiums around the world.
Yeah.
That, yeah, I don't know. I just think that'd be kind of interesting. I mean, like, because you go there, you'd watch a game, but like you'd just tour the stadium, see what like all the different cities are.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Okay. That's interesting. Have I told you the story of my college roommate and I?
No,
Our
I
senior
don't think
year.
so.
So we both graduated. And then on his way home, so he somehow had a bunch of tickets to a bunch of games. And I believe his dad purchased them for him.
Okay.
But on the way home, we stopped and watched 4 different major league games.
Oh, wow.
5 different major league games on the way home.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. So we went like to Anheuser-Busch Stadium, like the new for the Cardinals.
Yep.
Obviously Brewers. And then we did, I believe it was Wrigley,
Okay.
one of those. And then we did Atlanta. And then we did Jacksonville.
Cool.
No, what was in Jacksonville? There was what's a baseball team?
I mean,
It wasn't the Marlins.
there's no team. Jacksonville doesn't have a team.
So we must have watched a college
Because
ball game.
Jacksonville was, I mean, they have NFL.
Yeah, no, it was. I don't. Maybe we didn't stop in Jack. Maybe it was only 4, but it was
Okay.
pretty cool though. Either way, I got a hat from each one of them.
Nice.
Which is cool, and I think I still have the hats. But yeah, we did that, and I was super fortunate to just be brought along with it, because I didn't pay a dime for it. We just went from stadium to stadium to stadium. I paid for the stuff while I was there.
Yeah.
But I didn't pay for the tickets, and we just stayed at motels, split the motels, and that was it. But we did it in it was like 2 or 3 days. We hit all those stadiums.
Dang.
It was awesome.
That's cool.
It was really cool. So, yeah. If I chose a vacation type, I am a huge fan of road trips.
Okay.
And no objective. There would be a destination, but between the destinations, like no objectives. Just go wherever, do whatever, just stop wherever we want to stop,
Yeah.
take however long we want to stop. But I love road trips, and I really love road trips with friends. Like I've always really enjoyed just being in a car with somebody and just chatting the whole time, just BSing, telling stories, doing whatever, I've always really enjoyed that. So road trips are always a huge hit with me. Although this whole all-inclusive resort in Cancun was pretty darn good.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So I don't know if I have anything else. Well,
That's
I
all
got to marry somebody. Well, I got to renew vows of somebody
Oh,
while I
wow.
was in Cancun. So that was pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was just a friend of mine. He was just like, would you mind? They've been married for 25 years. So I was like, absolutely. Let's figure it out. So I had about a half a day to really button down the ceremony. It was really cool. It took about 4 or 5 minutes to renew the vows. And then there was a bunch of pictures and champagne. And then on a beautiful white sand beach. So
Cool.
it was really cool. So I got to be the officiant of a vow renewal. And it was really neat. But there's no vows said.
Okay.
So kind of.
Is it
And neither
really-
of them wore rings either. So it was like normally you take about 15 minutes and there's all these ceremonial, like with this ring,
Yeah.
like we blah, blah, blah. And, but there wasn't that. Neither of them had vows. And it was a surprise, so they didn't want to write their own vows because it would have just been the one person that knew that was happening.
Oh.
And the other person wouldn't have had vows. So I was just like, so you cut out like 10 minutes of this process. Like, you realize this is going to be quick, right? And he's like, yeah, I don't care, man, as long as it's good. And so we did it. And it was like, honestly, like 3 or 4 minutes. And that was it. But it was hammered down. It was good. Their kids were there. Like, it was fun.
That's cool.
It was really cool. So, got to do that. But yeah. All right. If you could only wear one color shirt for the rest of your life, what would you wear?
Oh. One color shirt. For
One
the rest
color
of-
shirt for the rest of your life. Only one color.
Gray.
Gray. Okay.
Yeah.
But are we talking like heather gray, like gray,
Oh,
or are we talking like charcoal gray?
Yeah, probably like charcoal gray.
Charcoal gray, so like a darker gray.
Yeah.
Okay. Mine would be black,
Okay.
without a doubt. Oh, I'm not wearing a black shirt. That's fine. I usually wear black shirts. Mine would be black, without a doubt, black. Because black goes with anything.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much.
That's kind of like, I was like, gray's pretty neutral. Like, yeah, almost black.
Yep. Yeah, mine would be a Carhartt Force black.
That's
Right?
really specific.
Is that what the Force? Yeah,
Yeah.
the Force wear. Yeah.
Okay.
I like the Force wear. I like normal Carhartt stuff too, but it's too boxy.
Oh.
This stuff at least has some sort of athletic fit to it. So, anyways, with all that being said, keep it subpar and deuces in the toilet. Peace.